Okay, 1980 Kawasaki LTD 1000, 30 years old right now, but the 2011s are out, so that makes this 31 years old. And from the description, you know that the colors were traded back in 1982 for what was thought to be the meanest and neatest looking paint job, and that was the solid black with the silver and the red pinstripes. And I'd have to agree today. So you can tell that the Drag Specialties bar, and of course Drag Specialties would have been owned by Harley Davidson if they'd have made another one of those bars. That is the illegal hardware that Drag Specialties was making. You can see that has the badge and shield, and that was a copyright infringement against Harley Davidson. And so anyway, you can tell it's in museum condition. We'll get some film here of it running, and with all the dash lit and everything, so you can see how that is all intact. It's got the, I don't know what it is about the high beam on these old cows, but it dropped out of there, and so now that, I mean, the high beam will come on, but it's a white light because the colored indicator has slipped off the face back there, so that's minor. If you don't like how I cleaned and polished, the bar on here, of course, it's just a matter of just spraying them black. That's it. Now here's something that's pretty ridiculous. This bike has the original plastic wraps on the brake and the clutch levers. I mean, that's just crazy and unheard of. So it's in nice shape. It's in beautiful condition. And as I had said in the description, this thing never left the dealer without that kirker on it right there. Those tiny little 26s that came with these things that were meant to keep people from hurting themselves were jetted to run with the open kirker back when this thing was driven away from the dealer. That is a dealer installed kirker. And back in the day, I have a full set of 29mm racing smooth bores, and they are not, they don't look small, they look huge compared to the 26s that Kawasaki put on these to keep people from seeing 150 miles an hour on them. But these 34s were put on the J engines, and the J engines were ridiculously fast from the factory. And those 34s are huge, and they are just tuned to perfection. I'll do a comparison here between the 29 smooth bores and these big 34s. So, and then I've got a glass mat battery for it. And I'll show you real quick how the Drag Specialties bar came with a custom pad that snapped in there to allow your passenger to be comfortably seated back there. You notice that is the original seat. There's a couple very minor tears on the underside, but it's gotten to the point where if you're going to use this thing, you really are going to have to consider getting another seat and pan, and possibly keeping this one off of it, because if you're a big man, I could see the seat starting to show some wear. But at 150 pounds, it's never, and my wife is not a big gal, so we've never had a problem with it. So I'm just afraid that if you want to keep that intact, you might want to preserve it and get a replacement pan and one of the replacement seat covers on it. I'll show you how that pad snaps onto that Drag Specialties bar. Let's take a look from the back side here. is. Motorcycle aficionados know that that is the classic very last year of the Z1 with an unheard of original paint in just completely presentable, really nice condition from a 78. I really think that if you were to go to a show with this thing, I think as far as any of the survivors go, it'd be a rare machine. It'd be in nicer condition. You can put $2,000 into restoring a paint job on one of these and come up with the decals, but those red pinstripes are pinstripe tape. The red is not on the side panels. Yes, it was a decal, but on the tank those were not decals. The silver was, but the red pinstripe was actually tape. So you can never, once you sand off or replace this original paint job, it is forever gone. That is an extremely unheard of condition for one of these old, any of the popular old bikes. And then I'll show you how that pad looks on there. It looks gorgeous. And then we'll fire it up and we'll put the glass mat battery back in it, so you can it's kept on the battery tender. It's only a year old. And we'll get that pad in there. So bold and audacious. Drag Specialties, Kawasaki motorcycles, badge and shield, sissy bar. You look up audacious, means touting or taunting the law. Bold, I'd say it's gorgeous. And that pad is real comfortable. I've never gotten a complaint out of my wife ever in 26 years, just when we've occasionally putted out on this thing, putting out onto the mountains, taking it up into Breckenridge and what have you, and you're up there in those mountains and everything loses power up there, and you'll pass everything in fourth gear up there in those mountains. And a lot of it has to do really because of how well those big 34s, they just love, once you're going down the road, they just love to run and they get excellent gas mileage. So there it is. That's the Drag Specialties bar with the bar and shield for the Kawasaki motorcycles with the then 31-year-old custom upholstery on it. That's a really nice luxury item on these things. Just as pretty as can be.